Okay. Hi guys. We are coming at you live at 5. We have gone through the most insane issues right now trying to reach you. Denise is not on right now because she got kicked off on top of all of this. So,
About 5 minutes
anyways,
ago.
5 minutes ago. My name is Heidi, by the way. I'm a co-founder of Freedom Angels. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Tara, you're going to take the lead right now on this. Start talking while I try and get Denise on somehow through the phone. So go ahead.
Hey, hi, I'm Tara, also co-founder of the Freedom Angels with Heidi and with Denise. We're freedom activists in California. We work, statewide, nationwide, and globally now. And I'm in the Northern Sierras of California. We have been censored off of our platform over and over in every form that we try to get on. And one of our friends, Maya, let us get on through her platform today. Thanks, Maya. Denise was on with us on the Zoom, and it booted her off of having access to Facebook through her phone and all the codes that it's, and now it's requiring her to put in new codes, which it's not sending to her. So that happened about 5 minutes ago. We've also been blocked from getting on through any other person that we've gone on through before, and some few people preemptively. So, I mean, right now it's like they're, whack-a-mole with us, or where's Waldo for us to be able to get on and access anything. So there's so much to talk about. The Governor Newsom did a conference today, a press conference, which is, beyond, beyond tyrannical and devastating in the articulation of the plan forward. It's everything that we've been saying to this point. And maybe I should just start going into it while we're trying to get Denise looped in, because
Yes,
I want to read some of the key pieces. If any of you watched it, this is the same plan. The governors, as you saw yesterday, Governor Newsom and the Oregon and Washington governors, as well as the governors on the East Coast from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. They're all gathering together, and they're adding other Democratic governors to their regional packs to advance the same set of guidelines to move forward in the easing of restrictions right now. So, Governor, I'll read you what Governor Newsom said, and you can basically take this to the bank for all these other ones that are on the same pack, the Democratic governors that are leading this forward. Okay, so he said that, well, over and over again, he said that we're going from the surge phase, and now we're entering into the suppression phase. And then as we try to develop herd immunity and ultimately vaccine. So this is what he said over and over again. We went from surge, we're going to suppression phase, and on to a herd immunity, and ultimately a vaccine. That's kind of the mantra right now. So, in also going from a population-based approach to an individual approach. I'll read his words on that. And this was, the whole press conference was discussing the framework with which they're gonna use as a guideline to make their decisions as they move forward on easing. And he said, what normal may look like as we bridge ultimately to a vaccine. And he said that there will be, this is important, the individual accountability. Hang on, sorry. Okay, so individual accountability. It says there will be more individual accountability, more individual responsibility as it relates to face coverings, as it relates to practicing physical distancing, more individual responsibility if you've been exposed to the virus, that we isolate you, and that we trace those that also may have been exposed, quarantine those that have tested positive, and more enforcement along those lines as we move forward. And so really, this is the grounds of our enslavement, the testing and the tracking. Any luck, Heidi? No. Okay, so I'll keep going on to the guidelines that the governor lined out, the 6 guidelines, while we're waiting to get Denise at least called in on this.
Denise,
So what? You got her on?
Denise, this is it. It's going to be like this. She's going to have to talk through the phone. They've done everything possible to remove her. Everything. So anyway, Denise, you can hear right now, right?
Barely.
Okay. Barely. Okay, go ahead with the guidelines. This is how Denise is going to have to be on today.
Okay. Basically, the main thing, there's multiple things. I'm going to just skip over, but the main thing is massively expanding testing, and that's testing and tracking, contact tracing to isolate and track those who are exposed or positive. You know, there's the other things like addressing hospital needs, PPEs, ventilators, engaging academics and research. Oh, yeah, engaging academics and research like Genentech, Stanford, USC's Scripps to advance therapeutics. There was no talk beyond that, other than that is something they're doing and gonna do. You know, from the beginning, they should have been discussing therapeutics and ways to treat people at point of entry, at first suspect of any possible infection at their doctor's office, at the ER, before as they go home to, you know, take care of whatever they might be experiencing, whether it be coronavirus or something else. And that is really, honestly, our governors like Newsom and Fauci and Gates, all the people who just spoke about PPEs and ventilators, you know, ventilators should be the albatross tied around their neck that takes them down for this, because nobody has been advancing, other than President Trump and all the scientists from around the world and all the doctors on the front line who've been advancing therapeutics like hydroxychloroquine, like, you know, IV vitamin C, like Z-Pack, zinc sulfate, all the different things from blood transfusions and oxygen, you know, cannulas. Those people are the heroes. They've been the ones advancing real solutions. And everyone talking about ventilators, like Governor Newsom, and only that, without real solutions and therapeutics, honestly, should be tried for war crimes. Everyone who's died, who was on a ventilator, you know, and didn't get early treatment, again, they should be going after them for this. So, but to go on, so other than that, engage academics, redraw floor plans. Okay, redraw floor plans of businesses, schools, etc. Private, public, small, large. Everyone's going to have follow guidelines and restrictions where they space out desks, they space out class, you know, whether it be work or school, health checks, discussed health checks at the door for workers, employees, students, people coming and going, to make sure that what did they say for health checks? Temperatures, glove works, tracking, to just make sure that no one is tested positive or a person under investigation, because in which case they would be isolated. And then capacity to go back and forth on loosening and tightening restrictions. Newsom said it very clearly that that this is going to be an ongoing loosening and tightening, and that they need to set in place both the apps, the high-tech apps, you know, technology, and personnel to do the contact tracing and the widespread testing, so that they can tighten and loosen restrictions. And then we also heard, separate from Newsom, and just so you know, contact tracing through apps is all tied into Bluetooth and GPS location devices. We saw one article today that was discussing that to fly or to take an Amtrak train, people would be required to participate in certified contact tracing apps and demonstrate at check-in that they have tested negative for COVID, or if antibody testing ultimately becomes reliable, because we know there's a lot of problems with antibody testing on test accuracy, and also just on the premise of who develops antibodies, and what that actually is reflective of as far as immunity, then that may be considered as well. I just downloaded all that info. You guys go talk about what freaking tyranny it is and how we have to go after it. Oh, and then we want to swing back around to what he said about the local level. So why don't you guys talk for a bit, and then I'll swing back around to the local piece. So that's key to what we've been saying about where we're going to fight this, besides, you know, in the big picture where we have to fight it locally.
Okay, I think we got Denise. Hold on, let's see. I think I got her back in. This is insane, guys. Like, you are witnessing the most insane censorship ever.
Denise, I see you.
Hi, Mark. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm kicked off my Facebook. I can't get on. I can't do lives off my Facebook. I can't get my password. I'm completely kicked off.
And we can't do any lives through our Freedom Angels Instagram, and we can't do any stories on our Freedom Angels Instagram.
Our YouTube,
Instagram. Oh, yeah.
Our YouTube channel has been hacked. Our YouTube channel as well. Like, guys, if there is ever a time where we need your help more than ever, today is the day. We need you guys on all of our platforms. We're going to need you guys, like people are reaching out to us to let us use your accounts. We are going to need that, and we can never announce in advance who we're going to be coming from because they're going to shut us down. They shut down our access to every single person we've used in the past to go through their own personal timelines. That's how serious this is, guys. So yes, keep your emails coming to us. freedomangels@protonmail.com. Make sure in the subject line you say directly what you're looking for, push back what state you're in, what city you're in. Give us as much information as quickly as you can in that subject line. We are working through it. This is why we just need to gather as much information, and we are going to be having pushback coming very soon. So Denise, let's go into that right now before you get kicked off again.
I know, right? Okay, so I know we've been talking a lot about pushing back and showing up at places so that way we can start holding the line, saying we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do tracking. We're not going to do these testing. We are a free country. We need to behave as such. So the dates are going to be April 20th. That's going to be at the Sacramento or the California Capitol at noon. And this is something, this is not a movement thing. This is a humanity thing. This is Californians pushing back against Governor Newsom, saying we are not going to allow you to do this to us anymore. He is abusing his power. So that's the first one. So mark your calendars. The second one is going to be April 24th, and the location will be announced closer to the date of that happening. And the next one would be May 1st. And again, the time will be announced, but that's going to be at the California Capitol again. So we need everybody to show up.
And a Southern California location.
Right.
Two for California.
Yeah, we need everybody to show up. I mean, bring your American flags, bring your signs. We are going to push back against what's happening in California. And we are also going, like the lady said, we will also have a Southern California location. That location will be announced closer to the date. So, we need all bodies there. We need all movements, all people there. We cannot do this by ourselves. So we as a people need to stand up and start pushing back on this. This is getting way out of control. I don't know, Tara, did you guys talk about Newsom? I missed everything. I don't even know what's happening in this live.
I just overviewed the guidelines, but I didn't even talk about the tyranny of it or anything. I just downloaded the info. And I did want to talk about the local. Do you want to talk about that, the local piece in Texas, or do you want to go into North Carolina first?
Well, let's do North Carolina. We saw today North Carolina pushed back. They had, concerned residents there standing there, and they were 6 feet apart. They were practicing social distancing, and you had North Carolina PD come and arrest these people. They had their children there. There was women, children, men, all there standing socially distant from each other, but they have again overreached. These are uncharted waters. Do they really want to be that police officer who arrests a person standing in the middle of the street? This is a question that every officer needs to ask themselves when they do go up to try to arrest somebody. Are you going to be that guy? that guy in history. And thankfully, we've been able to build such strong relationships here in California that we actually have officers who back us and officers who want us to push back. Because remember, we can't wait for government officials to come and save us. The government, all of these people, they work for us. So when we need to start pushing back, it is our job, it is our duty as Americans. It is our job to protect the Constitution. It is not the government's job to do that. We've elected these people, but we need to do our job and our due diligence to stand up to what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. It is our duty. We have, you know, unknowingly, everyone is now enlisted because we're in a situation we didn't expect. This is war, and we have to protect the Constitution. The constitutional violations under these emergency orders that are being enacted by the governors and by local county officials at even stricter levels. Like Denise will talk about Texas, but I want to read you something that Governor Newsom said today. I think if you've been watching us for the last almost 3 weeks, one of the things we have consistently said right away was we had to identify who the new players were in this. And the new players are very much our governors and the state health, public health officers and Office of Emergency Service, but also the equivalent state county management, and that is directed in this scenario by the county public health officers, the county law enforcement, the mayors, the board of supervisors. All these people play a role in it too. But you know, again, county health officers and law enforcement are very big, as are mayors and board of supervisors. As we've seen across the nation, in different places, like for example in LA, the mayor has gone very, very strict, as have 6 counties in Berkeley up in San Francisco, as has what Denise is going to talk about. And then we've seen places in Colorado and Maine and other states where the local law enforcement and different agencies and groups of people have made statements and pushback that they will not enforce these. So like we said over and over again, never more than before will your county that you live in and the people tasked with its management, as well as your governor, in the interplay between the two, is going to direct what your individual battleground looks like. And this is what Newsom said today, which backs this up 100%. He said, localism is determinative. We have a state vision, but it will be realized at the local level. Local governments, local counties, and he emphasized, local health directors will have a profound and outsized influence on our capacity to deliver on this next iteration in terms of our planning. And that was with regards to the framework of 6 different things that we just discussed at the beginning of this. So, Denise?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, talking about how the hyper-localization, but yet they're combining into packs. We already have California, Washington, and Oregon forming a pack. I'm in the epicenter of the technocracy, so I'm in a Bay Area county who's already locked arms with 7 counties. So you better believe, while they say this is hyper-local, for me, I've seen and read all the press releases. It's 7 counties coming together. So it's going to be different wherever you are in the United States. So you need to pay attention to the patterns that have already been set, but they're forming these unholy alliances is what I'm going to call them. I'm sorry. It's flat out an unholy alliance to create this conglomeration where they're going to sell it as this is all for your safety and we're coming together and we're still honoring the Constitution by being hyper local and your county driving this. Are you kidding me? Yes, on one end, you're right. It is not the federal government's place to come in and regulate this. It is true. It should be hyper-local. But the public health officer in your county, they're not elected. They're an appointed magistrate. That's what we've just done. So how in the world is this constitutional? The other thing that I want to mention about Newsom and how he's rolling out his plan, and you know this applies to you, Oregon and Washington too, because of the pact. Guess what he did not discuss was mass gatherings. So mass gatherings, folks, everybody, you want your bread and circuses through your sporting events. Well, that's one thing, but one area that's being completely overlooked is the churches. The church is a mass gathering, and they are going to hold out, and those will not be opened. Guarantee those will not be opened until the vaccine is ready. So get ready, guys. It's time. Go to your pastors. This is going to be the defining moment for the church in America.
And speaking of local, so we have an assembly member who decided to write into Governor Newsom and request that he stop the sale of guns and ammunition, saying that 22,424 firearms are still in the hands of prohibited persons. I want to ask, how does he think banning the sale of guns when you have to go into the gun store and do a background check and wait and do all the things that you are required by law? How is that what he's doing is he's making you a criminal. He is he's making you to be one of those prohibited people. So what does that have to do with the virus that's going around that is going to, this is supposedly to protect the general public? We know that in desperate times, desperate people do desperate things. And, people need to protect their house. This is a right to bear arms. We are in the United States. We have that right. And now we have assembly members in the 53rd district. So if this is your assembly member, I suggest you start gathering around this guy's office or
Miguel
wherever
Santiago.
he's at.
That's
Yeah,
Miguel Santiago.
Miguel Santiago, 53rd district assembly member, and start pushing back, because this is very dangerous territory. I mean, we're already, like I said, in uncharted waters, and now you're having the removal of guns, of ammunition, stopping the sale of seeds, of food, of clothes. What's next? What's next? This is not about keeping us safe from a virus. Obviously, we went way past that. So hyperlocal, we've been talking about that since the beginning of us doing these videos. Contact your sheriff, public health, Office of Emergency Services, because what we're seeing in Texas, Cameron County, Texas, where a judge has put into order for that county, no more than 2 people in a car. If there are 2 or more people in a car, everybody needs to be wearing masks. You must wear a mask in public, and no children under the age of 14 are allowed to go anywhere unless it's for school educational purposes or for school lunch pickups. So what happens to those single parents, those parents who have children who have disabilities, all of it? What happens to them? They starve at home because they can't take them to the store.
What happened to common sense? What happened to constitutional rights? What happened to rational thinking? And the crazy thing is the governors of these states, when they made these pacts, we talked about it yesterday, they're saying we're going to move forward based on data, facts, science, evidence, and not ideology and politics. And they're throwing that out to President Trump like he's just playing reckless on ideology and politics, and they're the ones, following science and data. And that's just straight up bullshit. Show us the science, the data, and your stats, because everything that we've seen that hasn't been manipulated, everything that we know from on the ground to scientists around the world to data that's actually real data does not stand, none of their actions stand up against that data. It does not. These extreme emergency control measures and powers that they've used to completely restructure society and what it means to be a free human and what it means to have health and wellness and what that is all about has been done on manipulated and false grounds, just straight out lies. And they're framing it completely the opposite.
We've been working on a lot of pushback in California for quite some time as a team. And I don't consider myself a Republican. I don't consider myself a Democrat. I am all about who is protecting the Constitution. I don't care what colors you bang. But that's what it is, though. These are gang members. I mean, I don't care what color you bang. You need to uphold your oath. But what we're seeing is a party line issue. This has happened with every single issue that we've ever had in a health freedom and a freedom movement. And we saw that we're seeing it in Pennsylvania, where they're opening their state, saying, as long as you follow social distancing, it'll be fine, right? Well, what happens? 107 to 95, all party lines, Dems say no. What kind of agenda do these Democrats have that they do not want to open up our economy and to put all of these types of restrictions? They want to track us like cattle.
Yep. And they're the ones that are politicizing it, saying that they're not. They're doing it on science and data. I agree. This should not be politicized. And yet, who is actually doing that?
Absolutely. So we have to read past all the headlines. When they say they're doing it on science, who's science, guys? You have to read past that. Figure out who's funding the science. Where's that science coming from? That all matters. And when we're making science our God instead of the God of the universe, then we also have a problem as well, too, because that is what we're about to hit. That's the crossroads of our nation right now. Are we going to serve God or science? Not to say that God created science, not the other way around. And that's what we're bumping into right now.
Well, and science is manipulated.
It is.
Yes.
Science is
manipulating you right now.
Right. Science is an experiment. It's an ever-evolving experiment. Things change all the time. Why aren't they changing their position now that the science has changed, saying that these aren't the projected numbers? You know, the numbers are going to be lower to 60,000. It's not going to be 2.2 million anymore.
Oh.
But of course, we've been screaming this for years. They're going to start putting these new vaccines in the pipeline. And it's not about anti, it's not about pro, it's not about that. But what it is about is the informed consent part. It's about real trials happening before they put them out in the market. And what have we seen? They skipped animal trials, went straight to humans, and now they're going to expect you to get this untested vaccine to re-enter the workforce. School, going out to the public, going to restaurants, you're not going to be tested. Where is the line for you? When are you going to say enough is enough? We need to discuss this further, and we need to start pushing back.
And also, they're saying right now, these are the process. You're going to have to be tested and tracked for participation in work and school and society. And then ultimately, you're going to have to prove some level of immunity or have had a vaccine. Either you develop it naturally or through a vaccine. Yet you're not going to be able to develop naturally because they're keeping people isolated. In fact, that is what Newsom, of course, we knew this is what they were going to do. He said, great, we have less hospitalizations, this is what he said today, and less ICU cases and less PUIs, persons under investigation, because you have all stepped up and done your social distancing and physical isolation, and that is the reason why that we can now move on to the next phase to consider how to test and track everyone so that we can open society and pull those out who haven't proven immunity or had a vaccine or what have you. But again, the vaccine, as I said, surge suppression, herd immunity, and ultimately vaccine. It's not even a projection anymore. It's been articulated very clearly today.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. He said it.
Due process and civil and constitutional rights. This is just way beyond reasonable.
Absolutely. And he said it like 14 times. We have to wait for the vaccine. We have to wait for the vaccine. Guys, we've called this from day one when he issued the stay-at-home order. We in California were the ones that had the governor who gave an indefinite order, an indefinite stay-at-home order. He did not put a date to it. News reporters ran with the date. County set a date. So that caused everybody to think, oh, we're waiting for some magical date. No, Newsom was specific. He knew exactly what he was doing by giving an indefinite stay-at-home order, because he knew all along what the agenda was for his state, and it was to wait for that vaccine. And because the hysteria is so great right now, people are going to line up in droves for it. And that's fine. If you want to line up in droves for it, great, good on you. But you need to have eyes wide open that it's not just going to stop with the corona vaccine. It's going to be testing for every possible thing, whatever. And you just gave it to them on a silver platter because you are begging for safety. Just like we did with 9/11. just like we did with 9/11. Oh yeah, and it's going to be
Like
this.
he said,
This is going to be.
and it's that, but it's also, he said, you know, when we talked about schools and businesses, he specifically said, you know, new norm is going to look like, and this is, you know, in a couple of weeks, if you want to go to a restaurant, they're going to have spacing of their tables further apart, and the waiters will wear gloves and a mask, and they'll have disposable menus, and there'll be health checks at the door, like your temperature. And then
Well, will be health checked too. It's people going inside the restaurants will be health checked too.
That's what he said. Yep,
Yes.
not just things. Exactly. He said it today. Again, like we know. So again, if we allow that, then that is our reality. That is our new norm. If we say no, then it's not. We have to, like that image of, you know, the chessboard and all the people on it. And it's like, yes, all you got to do is stand up and say, no, we're not playing that game. And that's the moment in time. It's never, one of the most important things we can ever know in our life is to recognize the moment that's before us and what is required of us in that moment.
And this is right. This is where we start when we push back, when we go to the Capitol, it's not going to be those cute little, you know, the rallies that we have with music. This is real pushback. This is going to be that moment in time where you have to pick a side of, are you going to support freedom or are you going to turn your neighbor in for being outside? I mean, I've been on news stations and I've been kind of, you know, trying to get the information out. And it is absolutely mind-boggling how brainwashed these people are. They have the government telling them that their bodies cannot heal and they have to wait for a pharmaceutical drug. And that scares them so much into compliance. I feel like shaking them.
Yep.
Well,
That's the ground. We said no therapeutics. All they're saying, so everyone's afraid. My only option is to hide out so I don't end up on a ventilator until I can get a vaccine. That's all they've been told. That's what you have to do. Hide out. And if you get sick, we'll make sure there's a ventilator for you, which has only about, what, an 80% at best, 20% at best survival rate if you get put on a ventilator, like, early on. And I don't know.
Right.
It's, again, like she said, constitutional battle here. Figure out where your line is, what you're going to allow. Do you believe that there's therapeutics and your body can heal, that we deal with immunity this way, or do you believe that we have to get tracked and traced and our immunity from a needle?
Mm-hmm. Or a pharmaceutical needle,
yeah,
or
a pharmaceutical,
yeah, exactly.
What
I
happened
think
to Denise?
I don't know, Denise. Hopefully she comes back while oh, she got muted. This is bizarre. She got muted. I did not mute her. I'm in control. I cannot unmute her. She's muted. This is insane. Guys, you're watching it happen to us right now. Denise, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is insane. Yeah. No, this is crazy. I'm going to jump in real fast and just say this is a call out right now to all the environmentalists, because all the environmentalists are so concerned with how much trash and waste and all this we're generating. What do you think this pandemic just did? They got you to walk right into this. We're wearing all these disposable masks, we're wearing all these disposable gloves. Now we're having to have disposable menus. Are they going to bring back the plastic straw? I don't know. You know,
they brought back the plastic bags.
Yeah,
right?
They sure did, didn't they? So this environmentalism thing, they are using it, guys. They are using it to control you, and you don't even realize it. So anybody who cares about the earth, they should be coming to this pushback as well. Wherever they are in the country, they need to be stepping up, because if you actually care about the environment, you would not be happy with all the disposable crap that is being shoved down us right now to participate in society.
Well, or what, 5G technology and all this EMF does to all living beings. Alternative health, you want to talk about alternative health? Or not even just alternative, but how do you create resiliency and health in a human being? Anyone who cares about that knows that we should not be separated from our environments and from each other, and that our bodies and our immune systems and the earth and our creativity, our inventiveness have created pathways to keep our immune system strong and healthy. and that it's not, again, like we said, through a needle, through pharmaceuticals, and that we require to be afraid of each other, to be distanced from each other, to be tracked and traced. I mean, right now what we're talking about is, you know, the natural born human is, and the God-given, you know, immune system, and the earth that was created, and our minds that can improve upon, again, not like, we're not talking crazy, you know, genetic manipulation stuff, but can improve upon, like, through nature and the wisdom of our bodies and natural healing, our immune systems, and fight off diseases and create therapeutics to help people stay healthy and well and recover from things.
Absolutely. And that's why people, if anybody's following us on Twitter, we've been really using the hashtag Stay Human. We've been using it on multiple, you know, on Instagram and Facebook too. But Tara just told you exactly why. I don't think we've ever truly spelled it out for people, but we claimed that quite a while back. And I don't think people understand the significance of that hashtag Stay Human. Because the agenda is to not be human anymore. Humans are made to be together. They're made to be able to hug and hold hands and be in communion and to pray together and to worship together. They're made to be able to have sunlight and fresh air. But the agenda is clear. They want to take all of that away. And then you're not a natural born human anymore when your DNA has been altered through pharmaceuticals and injectables and GMOs and geoengineering and fluoride in the water, and it's all
AI,
package.
Nanotech, AI, you know, pharmaceutical nanotech, you know, for the vaccines and everything. All that.
Mean, we've been talking about this for quite some time. When 277 hit and 276 hit, we were talking about this. This is where it's going to end up. And we were called crazy, and we were called paranoid, and we were called conspiracy theorists. But here it is, laid out the way that the, you know, freedom movement has laid it out. We're going to be in a lot of trouble if we don't start pushing back now. There's no more time to sit back and just wait to see who's going to come from the government to save us. This is something we have to start being active about. And I'm sorry, but we can't trust a plan that we don't know, and we can't trust a plan that's coming from the same government that's telling us we can't go outside and get sunshine. What's happening to our population, to our young people? Recently, there was a little girl who committed suicide because she couldn't take this anymore. The isolation because of some fear. I mean, we're not really completely isolated. We're still living our life, but there are some people, like my mom included, who are literally sitting in a room by themselves waiting to be told that it's safe to come out. That kind of isolation, that kind of mental abuse really that it's creating is causing a bigger problem than this virus. I mean, we can't afford this, not just as small businesses, not just as, you know, people who want to go out, but mental health, emotional health. We have people who are locked in their house with abusers. I mean, this is a really scary time for a lot of people. So we need you guys to start stepping out of the box and saying, okay, we need to be out there. You can't be scared. We're going to be there to, you know, stand shoulder to shoulder with you. And we will not let something happen to you that we wouldn't put, you know, we're not going to put you in a position that we wouldn't put ourselves in. We are there to be safe. We're there to be peaceful, but we're there to hold the line because there's too much at stake right now. Too many families are at stake in the United States, and it needs to stop. California, we have herd immunity here. There's no reason why we should be on this kind of lockdown. No reason why.
Yep.
Well, there's no reason anyone should be on a lockdown like this.
Yeah.
The violations on constitutional rights, and the fact that there's literally no due process right now to break the cycle that's gone way beyond what's, you know, is just, that's where we have to battle on. That's where we have to protect. There's no, like we always say, the cavalry isn't coming. We are the cavalry, and we can do this together. We can do this by the millions, by the, you know, tens of thousands, if we stand and say, no, we will not allow this at our county level, at our state level, for our nation, and for crying out loud, for the rest of the freaking world. Like, if you see, I mean, we haven't even discussed the stuff that's going on in countries such as India and other countries. I mean, again, human rights, violations and what in this country is protected constitutional rights, right now it needs every one of us to stand and say, no, these still stand. These are still viable. You have disregarded them. The data and the stats that you've been using do not justify this, and your vision of what it is required to participate in society is frankly tyrannical and is not backed by real data and science. And people are gonna have to decide where's your line.
Yep, absolutely. I was going to say, speaking of around the globe, so I have been sounding the alarm about all the sleepy churchgoers who think it is great to be doing church online right now. You see how they're censoring our feed right now. This is just a tiny taste about what they're about to do to churches' live streams. Because guess what? In China, they've all been shut down. You can't watch a live stream of church in China anymore now, guys. And guess what they did in Mongolia? They went in, they shut all the churches down. And Mongolia, they don't have access to live streams either. So start paying attention to what's happening around the globe. There is a clear and present agenda. So no more sleeping through online church, guys. You got to wake up and understand what's going on and what's about to come to your doors.
And why church is so important, like Heidi said, besides the fact that it's essential for the soul, I mean, that's why it is part of First Amendment protections, but also it is the place where in the United States and around the world, that people consistently gather once or twice a week in numbers and on a unified thread to have conversations and thoughts together on their beliefs and their convictions. And so it's really a place to organize from. Quite frankly, yep. It's a key spot where people will be together to organize from and hold the line together. And that's why it's been attacked and not protected, and why its protection is so vital, especially in these moments. In this moment that none of us ever expected us to be in a lifetime, whether we could see it coming or not. You still can't believe this moment in time is real.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they kicked Denise out again on us. I can't get her video to come up and I can't unmute her. I do want to say though,
did she run off? Remember she said she had to go off for something?
Oh, maybe that was, we are at 43 minutes though, so we do need to be wrapping this up basically just because of bandwidth. Because we take all,
or should we just
take all these videos.
Let's wrap it up. Okay.
There she is. Okay.
Getting on my nerves.
You got kicked out again, didn't you?
I kept trying to press the button and wouldn't let me start anything.
Yep, of course. I was just telling everybody that we are just about at, well, now we're at 46 minutes, so we need to wrap this up.
Okay, so again, how we said in the beginning, we have 3 dates for you guys. It's going to be Monday, April 20th, the 24th, and the 1st. The 20th is going to be at noon at the California Capitol, and we're going to have a flyer for you guys shortly after this video. So thank you guys for listening. Every day, Monday through Friday, we do a live at 5 discussing freedom and liberty in California and across the nation. We have a YouTube channel that is called Freedom Angels, our Facebook page, which is Freedom Angels Foundation, and Instagram page and Twitter with the same handle. We also have a Telegram channel, which is an app you can download where we send all of our links and information on upcoming events. It's really important if you guys could please share this video and start a watch party because of censorship. We really need to get this message out because we need the numbers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was trying to get this thing going.
Thanks, Maya.
Pressing. What was that?
Thanks to Maya.
Yes, thank you, Maya, for letting us use your page. And if we have any close friends who will let us use their page, please reach out to us so we can keep these lives at 5 going. It's really important, especially right now, to give you guys the information that we have. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.